That night, unlike any other, as I washed the dishes and savored the rare silence left in the wake of my husband's departure, a warm breath brushed against my neck, sending a shiver down my spine. I was caught off guard. The door had creaked open without a sound, and there he was looming in the shadows, impossibly close. Is it my husband's friend? Silence enveloped him, a heavy shroud that spoke volumes without uttering a single word. He remained still, yet his presence enveloped me, the silence thickening around us. Then he leaned closer, his voice barely above a breath. You felt it too, didn't you? I should have walked away, but I remained frozen in place, and in that instant everything shifted irrevocably. My name is Isabel. At 32 years old, I reside in a quaint house nestled in the heart of Brooklyn, New York, alongside my husband, Thomas. The kitchen radiated a soft, inviting glow from the pendant light hanging above the sink. The soothing sound of running water filled the air as I plunged my hands into the warm, soapy depths, a wave of comfort washing over my fingers. The night enveloped everything in an eerie stillness, a rare hush that felt almost foreign to me. Thomas had just stepped out, his words lingering in the air as he mentioned a quick stop at the grocery store on Atlantic Avenue, intent on gathering a few essentials for breakfast the next day. I remained silent, merely nodding as I pressed on with the last of the dishes, the weight of unspoken words hanging in the air. This moment captured my heart, regardless of everything else. In the solitude of the house, where the air hung thick with tranquility, there was no clamor of a television or the incessant buzz of conversation. Just an enveloping silence, punctuated only by the soothing rhythmic flow of water, creating a serene symphony of calm. As I sank into the water, a deep sigh escaped my lips, the warmth enveloping me like a gentle embrace, easing the day's burdens and melting away the aches that clung to my weary body. My movements flowed with a rhythmic grace, each motion weaving into the next, creating a tapestry of tranquility that enveloped me. With a determined grip, she lifted the plate, its surface still glistening with remnants of the meal. Each stroke of the scrubber was a battle against the stubborn stains, the water cascading from the faucet like a refreshing waterfall, washing away the remnants of the past. Finally, she set the plate on the rack, a small victory in the ongoing war against chaos. Echo it back. A tranquil moment unfolds, serene and unassuming. Outside the window, the streetlights flickered to life, casting an eerie glow on the slick pavement, where pale yellow streaks danced across the glass like whispers of secrets waiting to be uncovered. In the distance, the cacophony of honking horns reverberated through the bustling street, a constant reminder that the city was alive, its pulse unwavering even in the darkest hours. I shut my eyes, relishing the fleeting stillness that enveloped me, a precious pause before Thomas's return, before the world sprang back to life. But then, just as I believed I was utterly isolated, an icy shiver slithered down my spine. I hadn't heard the door creak open, yet an unsettling sensation washed over me, compelling me to freeze in place, caught in a web of anticipation. A shadow loomed just inches away from my back. A sudden tension seized my body. A primal instinct surged within me, whispering that someone loomed just behind, shrouded in shadows. My breath hitched in my throat as a wave of scent enveloped me, the delicate notes of sandalwood and tobacco weaving through the air. It felt hauntingly familiar. The air shifted and a familiar presence loomed behind me, one I could sense without even glancing back. Damien stood at the edge of the world, a name that echoed with promise and peril, waiting for the moment that would change everything. Thomas's closest companion since their college days. I gripped the slick plate tightly, battling the storm of emotions swirling within me. Deep down, a whisper of doubt lingers, urging me to question if perhaps I'm merely spiraling into overreaction. Perhaps Lucas has simply come by for a visit. Perhaps he was merely seeking a way to greet her. Yet, if that were true, why did I not hear his footsteps approaching? Why was he so near that I could sense the heat radiating from his body against my back? I inhaled deeply, battling the storm within as I steadied my voice, determined to keep it calm. What brings you to this place, Lucas? A low, soft chuckle whispered against the back of my neck, sending a shiver down my spine. A chilling sensation coursed through me, igniting every nerve with an electric thrill. I simply yearned to gaze upon you. A deep furrow formed on my brow. The response lingered in the air, shrouded in ambiguity and uncertainty. I kept scrubbing the dishes, forcing myself to ignore the rhythm of his breath, the subtle shifts of his presence behind me. Yet, the silence that loomed between us felt heavy, laden with unspoken words and unshared thoughts. The air was dense, suffocating, as if an unseen force was constricting the very atmosphere around us. Those eyes. I didn't dare to glance, yet I sensed it. An icy edge gliding over my flesh, a whisper of danger that sent shivers down my spine. Silence enveloped the room as you stepped through the door, an unexpected stillness that hung in the air, leaving everyone wondering about the secrets you carried with you. I struggled to maintain a steady tone, yet the tension in my voice betrayed me. I hesitated to intrude upon your thoughts. Every word dripped with a subtle biting sarcasm, lurking just beneath the surface. I bit my lip, my fingers digging into the cold edge of the sink. The water cascaded endlessly, yet its warmth had slipped away, leaving only a chilling emptiness in its wake. Lucas shifted, his body tense with anticipation. A subtle shift, barely perceptible, yet it struck me with the force of revelation. The space that once defined us had transformed irrevocably. He edged nearer, the tension thickening in the air. I shifted my gaze slightly, just enough to glimpse his figure lurking in the edges of my sight. The kitchen glowed with a pale yellow light, casting an eerie ambience that seemed to whisper secrets of the night. The lamp flickered, casting sharp shadows that danced across Lucas' face, illuminating his features in a haunting glow. His gaze pierced through me, unwavering and intense. Darkness enveloped the space, a heavy silence hanging in the air, brimming with an enigmatic presence that defied understanding. Then a slow smirk crept at the corners of his lips, hinting at a secret he held close, as if the world around him faded into the background, leaving only the weight of his unspoken knowledge hanging in the air. I did not. My fists tightened into hard, unyielding balls of fury. A tight knot of unease coiled in my stomach, tightening with every passing moment. A haunting whisper echoed in the depths of my mind. This was not to my liking. There was something unsettling in the way Lucas's gaze pierced through me. His proximity sent a shiver down her spine, an unsettling tension crackling in the air between them. The thick air clung to the kitchen like a heavy shroud, suffocating and oppressive. I swallowed hard, forcing myself to steady my breath. "Where is my husband?" I inquired. My voice danced lightly, yet the tension clung to each word, palpable and inescapable. Lucas shrugged, a playful grin dancing on his lips. "Are you still out there?" He halted, his head tilting slightly as if listening for something just beyond the reach of sound. "I sensed you could use a companion by your side." A tight knot formed in my stomach. It wasn't the words that struck a chord, but the haunting way he uttered them. It was as if he possessed an intimate understanding of the power each word held over me. It felt as if he was putting me to the ultimate test. I swallowed hard, fighting against the tension that gripped my body. I stand alone, unyielding and resolute, needing no one to define my existence. As I stand at the sink, the warm water cascades over my hands, the rhythmic clinking of dishes echoing in the quiet kitchen. Each plate and glass tells a story, their surfaces glistening under the soft light, waiting to be transformed from remnants of a meal into a clean slate. The steam rises, wrapping around me like a comforting embrace. As I lose myself in the simple, my voice came out with a sharper edge. Lucas pressed his back against the counter, the weight of the moment settling around him like a thick fog. His arms were tightly crossed over his chest, a barrier against the world around him. His gaze was locked onto mine, unyielding and intense. "Is this the level of dedication you maintain every single day?" I summoned a smile, battling the weight of the moment, striving to keep the atmosphere buoyant. The remnants of the meal lay scattered across the table, a silent challenge hanging in the air. Someone must rise to the occasion and restore order to the chaos left behind after dinner. Yet Lucas's lips remained unturned, a shadow cast over his expression. Instead, he inclined his head, a subtle shift that hinted at unspoken thoughts swirling in the air. His gaze lingered on my face, meticulously exploring every contour, as if he were deciphering a hidden truth. "It seems Thomas fails to recognize your true worth." I stood motionless. As I pivoted my head, our gazes locked in an electric moment. "What is happening?" Lucas hesitated, the silence stretching between them like a taut wire. His gaze pierced through me, intense and unwavering. It felt as though a deep quest was unfolding within me, a relentless search for something elusive and profound. As he spoke, his voice dropped to a lower register, concealing a sharp edge lurking just beneath the surface. He abandons you to solitude far too often. The air in the kitchen hung heavy, thick with an unspoken tension. My fingers tightened around the sink handle, a desperate attempt to steady my racing breath. This was a line not to be crossed, a delicate threshold now strained to the breaking point. The tension hung thick in the air, a palpable force that sent shivers down my spine. And then there was Lucas. He was aware of it as well. I faced the sink once more, attempting to push aside the tight knot of anxiety that twisted within me. The water flowed endlessly, a quiet yet persistent murmur in the silence. The steady murmur enveloped me, a comforting reminder that I was anchored in my own kitchen, free from the weight of worry. A seemingly ordinary exchange unfolded between them, yet beneath the surface unspoken tensions simmered, hinting at deeper secrets waiting to be unveiled. Only Lucas. Yet the sensation clawed at me, demanding my attention. A shiver ran down my spine as I sensed his presence looming just behind me, uncomfortably close, as if he were drawn to the very essence of my being. Then he shifted once more, a subtle movement that hinted at something deeper lurking beneath the surface. He hovered just out of reach, yet I could sense the heat radiating from him, seeping through the delicate weave of my shirt. Elusive, yet undeniably present. I tightened my jaw, a storm brewing within me. A part of me yearned to pivot, to confront him directly, to assert that he should depart at once. Yet lurking within me was a darker, more perilous voice, whispering that I must remain still. Because if I dared to move, if I allowed my gaze to meet his, I would be forced to confront a truth I wasn't ready to face. Uncertainty gnawed at me, leaving me to ponder what fate awaited, each possibility darker than the last. After what felt like an eternity, Lucas finally broke the silence. "It's time to put an end to this." His voice dripped with a deliberate cadence, each word meticulously selected to settle into the silence between us, carrying an unspoken gravity that lingered in the air. I stood motionless, my heart pounding in my chest. "Cease what?" I fought to maintain a steady tone, my heart racing beneath the surface. Yet it lacked the unwavering steadiness it once had. Lucas hesitated, the silence stretching between them like a taut wire. His gaze traced the curve of my neck, a silent contemplation swirling in the air between us. He hesitated, drawing back a step. The abrupt separation sent a shockwave through the air, leaving an unsettling void in its wake. "Okay," he said, his voice a mask of mystery. "Until we meet again." I released a breath I hadn't known I was holding, a sudden rush of air escaping my lungs as the tension melted away. The sound of his footsteps reverberated through the stillness of the house, each step a haunting reminder of his presence. With a soft thud, the front door clicked shut, sealing off the world beyond. He had vanished into thin air. I stood there, transfixed by the water cascading into the sink, each drop echoing in the silence as I fought to steady my racing breath. Yet, despite my relentless efforts, the haunting sensation of his presence lingered, refusing to fade away. And I sensed, deep within, that this wouldn't be the final moment I'd feel his presence lurking behind me. I stand alone. My fists tightened into hard, unyielding balls of determination. A peculiar sensation surged within my chest, an unsettling whisper of something unknown lurking just beneath the surface. A sensation that danced on the edge of fear, yet lingered just shy of true safety. I believed the end had finally come. I had been mistaken. Moments later, the sound of footsteps echoed in the silence. Unhurried, wary, returning once more. I whirled around, adrenaline surging through my veins. A flicker of hope ignited within me at the thought of seeing Thomas again. Perhaps he had left something behind, a forgotten piece of himself, and now he was returning to reclaim it. But it was not to be. It was Lucas, the name that echoed in the shadows, stirring a mix of anticipation and dread. He lingered in the doorway, a shadow cast against the dim light, waiting for the moment to step into the unknown. His tall figure loomed, casting an ominous shadow across the floor. His gaze was unwavering, locked onto me with an intensity that sent shivers down my spine. Steadfast, without a moment's pause. Not a single regret. I swallowed hard. "What keeps you lingering in this place?" Lucas hesitated, the silence stretching between them like a taut wire. He burst through the threshold, the door crashing shut with a resounding thud behind him. Gradually, with intent, the sound made me flinch, a jolt of instinctive fear coursing through me. Lucas tilted his head, curiosity flickering in his eyes. His eyes were shrouded in darkness. His presence loomed like a shadow, a whisper of power that sent shivers down the spine. Every glance he cast held a promise of untold stories, secrets waiting to be unveiled. In the depths of his gaze one could sense the weight of his past, a tapestry woven with threads of triumph and despair. The air crackled with anticipation, as if the very world held its breath, eager for the next chapter to unfold. Whispers danced through the air, seemingly gentle yet laced with an undercurrent of peril. Something has been left behind. The kitchen closed in around her, its walls pressing in like a tightening noose. The walls closed in, suffocating and oppressive. A primal instinct surged within me, urging me to flee at that very moment. Yet my feet remained frozen, unwilling to budge. "You need to leave, Lucas." My voice cut through the air, sharper and more resolute than ever. Yet I found myself far from it. Sure, if it possessed the power to push him into the shadows. A slow smile crept across his lips, hinting at secrets untold and moments yet to unfold. Not particularly bright, yet languid and wise. "Do you sense it as well, Emma?" I inhaled deeply. The boundary that once defined us began to dissolve, leaving only an intoxicating haze in its wake. Lucas edged forward, the tension in the air thickening around him. Gradually, balance, until a single breath hung in the air between us. "He trusts you," he whispered, his voice barely breaking the silence, laden with an unspoken weight. His breath brushed against my cheek, warm and intimate. Perhaps it was excessive. My fingers clenched tightly around the edge of the counter. My grip was faltering. The air that surrounded us pulsed with an intensity, heavy with the weight of an unspoken truth waiting to be unveiled. Lucas's hand grazed my arm, a fleeting touch that sent a shiver down my spine. A gentle caress, yet it ignited a surge of electricity that raced down my spine. I should have cast him aside. I should have spoken up. Instead, I remained frozen in place. His lips lingered tantalizingly close to mine, a breath away from igniting the moment. Suspense hung in the air, thick and palpable, as the seconds stretched into eternity. Waiting. And then, the unmistakable rumble of a car creeping into the driveway, breaking the stillness of the night. The truth crashed down, icy and shocking, jolting me from my reverie. I stood motionless, my heart pounding in my chest. Lucas felt the weight of the moment, his heart racing with anticipation. In that moment, the weight of our near miss hung heavy in the air, a chilling reminder of the fragile line we had danced upon. I shoved him aside, my breath coming in ragged gasps. "Move forward." At this very moment, Lucas's gaze lingered on me, a heavy silence stretching between us. His eyes were like deep, shadowy abysses. Yet he remained silent. He retreated. Begone. One final glance. Then he slipped away through the back door, vanishing into the shadows. My hands trembled violently as they pressed against my chest, a frantic heartbeat echoing in the silence. I fought to calm the wild thumping of my heart. Moments later, the front door creaked open, revealing the unknown beyond. Thomas stepped inside, oblivious to the chaos that had unfolded around him. "Darling, I have everything we could possibly desire." I inhaled deeply, summoning the courage to pivot and face what lay behind me, concealing the turmoil of recent events. With a decisive thud, Thomas placed the bags on the counter, the sound echoing in the stillness of the room. He pulled me close, his arms encircling my waist with a possessive warmth, and pressed a kiss to my temple, a gentle warmth that sent shivers down my spine. "Are you all right? Your cheeks are tinged with a hint of color." I swallowed hard, my head bobbing in a quick nod. "Indeed, it's likely just the steam swirling around us." Thomas's laughter echoed through the room, a sound that danced on the air like a flickering flame, drawing everyone's attention. "I warned you against pushing yourself too hard." I forced a laugh, trying to blend in with the moment. As I assisted him in unpacking, the lingering sensation of his touch haunted my skin, an echo of intimacy that refused to fade. Relief should have washed over me. Yet deep down I was aware. This is just the beginning. The dawn of something extraordinary is upon us. As I assisted Thomas in unpacking the groceries, I fought to steady my breath, each inhale a battle against the rising tension in the air. My heart raced, pounding against my chest with an urgency that felt almost primal. Each time my fingers brushed against the icy cardboard box or the sleek surface of the milk bottle, a jolt of fear coursed through me, as if those simple objects could shatter the delicate barrier I was desperately trying to maintain. Thomas remained blissfully unaware of the strange occurrences unfolding around him. He let out a hearty laugh, the sound echoing in the air. A moment of pure joy that seemed to suspend time. Perhaps it's the new neighbors. Or a captivating tale that flickered through the speakers of his car as he drove, weaving its way into his thoughts. I nodded, a soft chuckle escaping my lips at just the right moments. Yet my thoughts were ensnared by the haunting echoes of what had just transpired. Lucas stood at the edge of the world, the weight of his name echoing in the silence around him. His silence hung in the air, thick and palpable, like a storm waiting to break. His presence loomed, a palpable force that commanded attention and stirred the air around him. He stood there just inches away. His gaze pierced through me, a knowing intensity that suggested he could predict my every reaction, even before I was aware of it myself. And worst of all, the treachery of my own body. Silence enveloped the scene, a stillness that hinted at the weight of anticipation. Nothing had happened, yet the air crackled with the promise of the unknown, as if the world held its breath, waiting for the first spark to ignite the unfolding tale. Not at all. I had cast him aside. I had urged him to leave. But what if Thomas's car hadn't arrived at that precise moment? What if there had been nothing to hold me back? A wave of unease churned in my stomach. Thoughts swirled in my mind like a tempest, but I fought against the tide. I didn't want to confront the shadows lurking just beneath the surface. Yet it lingered, infiltrating every shadowy recess of my thoughts like a relentless, unyielding mark. As Thomas enveloped me in his embrace from behind, I could feel the warmth of his chin resting gently on my shoulder, a moment suspended in time. "Are you truly all right?" A shiver coursed through me, but I fought against it, surrendering to the warmth of his embrace. "Absolutely." Exhaustion weighs heavily on me. Thomas's lips brushed against my neck, a feather-like caress, before he turned away to place the items into the fridge. I stood there, a silent observer, as he meticulously arranged each item, lost in his own world, completely unaware of my presence. He placed his trust in me. He placed his faith in Lucas. I bit my lip, guilt surging within me like an unstoppable tidal wave. I swear I didn't do anything wrong. But could that still hold true? If a small part of me hadn't yearned for Lucas to stay in that moment? Silence enveloped me, leaving my thoughts tangled and unspoken. In the days that followed, I fought to erase every memory from my mind. I buried the memory deep within, as if it had never existed at all. As if the brush against my wrist was nothing more than a fleeting mirage. Lucas' breath lingered tantalizingly close to my lips, a whisper of danger that sent shivers down my spine. Yet, the truth was, I found myself unable to do so. I sensed his presence long before my eyes could catch a glimpse of him. It was as if he could peer into the depths of my mind, unraveling my thoughts with an uncanny precision. Everything about him lingered, an indelible mark etched deep within my thoughts. And Lucas made sure I would never forget. He simply wouldn't. Silence enveloped the space, a heavy stillness that hinted at the weight of unspoken words and untold stories. In that moment, nothing felt like everything, a void brimming with potential and the promise of what could be. Yet, that only deepened my sense of unease. Each visit to the grocery store sent a shiver down my spine, as if unseen eyes were tracking my every move. Each time I walked by the coffee shop near my house, an unsettling sensation washed over me, as if a pair of unseen eyes were tracking my every move from across the street. One fateful night, as I stood in the kitchen, the cool water cascading into the glass, an unsettling presence washed over me before I even laid eyes on him. A heavy weight settled in my chest. I could feel his presence, a shadow lurking just beyond my reach. I glanced up, my heart racing, and there he was, Lucas, a shadowy figure looming just outside the kitchen window, swallowed by the darkness. The streetlights cast a dim glow, barely illuminating the contours of his face, shrouded in shadows and mystery. His eyes glinted with intensity. A subtle smile played at the corners of his mouth. It was as if he could sense the very depths of my emotions in that moment.